away we go. Salam and good evening, my friends. Yo, what's up? Big day here, and welcome to Taco Tuesday. Wow, what a week. Man, lots of news, lots going on. So, here we are. My connection is unstable. Hello, Phoenix. Lady D will be here shortly. She is currently working. She's probably going to come home, grab some tacos, and then come down and have a seat with us. We'll move the camera at that time so you can see the rest of the bench. But we are here. We are live, and we are, well, we're doing our thing. So, she's not here. Hello, Commodore. It is a good week. I got some serious hobbying done this week. I'm very happy about that. I got the first 14 figures for my coming Custodes army done. Most of my ground troops, I'm probably going to do a few more. Yeah, I think for the most part, my ground troops are done. And now we're starting to get into it with the vehicles. So we start off with my Palacegravattack, which has its gold on. And hey, Big Al, what's going on? So we got the Palace, we've got the base gold on here now, and now we're going to start adding other colors and weather. So the Palace is the Palacegravattack is a nice fast attack option. Arm. What arm? What were you doing? Explain to me. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm a dope. Splinters. I had some splinters lately that got infected. It's kind of a problem. I was working with some stuff and got some stuff under the skin. I also have the gold down on the first of my Dawn Eagle bikes. Soon to start the additional colors on it as well. Oh, the dancer. Yeah. You're using, I mean, that's metal, right? Are you using super glue or epoxy to put that together? Because I'm gonna tell you, if you're using super glue, get yourself some zip kicker. This stuff, super glue just like that. Boom, bing bang boom, done. So yeah, and along with, just so I said, along with these guys, I'm also working on some custom bases for the bikes that will match the custom bases that I did for the ground troops. It's all, I have a matching base scheme for all of them to make it look like a, I don't know if it's marble or whatnot, but just a bluish gray tiled floor. So I want to kind of make them look like they're still in the palace. Originally, I thought about actually painting the Aquillas like gold or silver, and I thought, nah, I think I'm just going to leave them just the blue. I don't want to take too much away from the figure itself. I want the figure to be the focal, and I made it blue because I wanted to be a nice, cool color because these guys are reds and golds and lots of warm colors up above. So, Pin Vice, Pin Buddy, and Superglue. That is a pain. Zane, my man Zane, how are you, sir? Good to see you, buddy. I haven't seen you in a bit. My wife has a bunch of updates. She's not back yet. Yes, I'm doing actual Custodes. This is the Dawn Eagle jet bike. And like I said, I've got a Palacegravattack. And I just finished 2 squads of Guardians, a squad of Sagittarium. Yes, Zane, both. A little bit of a little bit of A, a little bit of B. Let's see. It's 2 squads of Guardians, a squad of Sagittarians, 2 Vexus, the banner guys, and I've got 1 shield captain. I had another guy I was going to use as a shield captain, but I'm not going to use him as a shield captain. I'm actually going to work him into a unit of the axe wielder guys. So I actually have a unit of elites, and then I'm going to have 2 shield captains on Dawn Eagles. And I'm actually rethinking my list now that a little bit more rules and some more information have come out about how vehicles are going to work in 9th. So I'll wait for Lady D to show up. Let's kind of jump into news a little bit. Where do we start? Well, let's talk about the big one. The one that at first had me kind of aggravated, but now that the more I think about it, actually the more and more comfortable I am, and the more I think it's kind of a better idea. I mean, it's a good idea. It was a good idea to begin with. It was just aggravating that this seemingly came out of nowhere, and that's on the size of the battle grid. They're now going to have variable battle fields, depending on the size of the force that you are playing. So, and the sizing was interesting. It jumped out to me right off the bat what the sizing was. But if no one caught it, it's real simple. If you're playing Kill Team, you're using a 22 by 30 board that comes in one of the, either in the starter box or they aren't even, but they are. Hang on a sec. There's a thing I realized about it. If you get a thing of Kill Team, it comes with a 30. It comes with a 30 by 22 board, and that's the way Kill Team is played. If you buy any of the terrain packs for Kill Team or Warcry, or even the Warcry board too, they come with a 22 by 30 board in there. So Kill Team is basically 100 points of army, and it comes with a 22 by 30. Hello, Tina. So a 500-point game or less is 44 by 30. So basically, you can take 2 Kill Team boards and put them together, and you got a 500-point, battle area, and that's the size you're supposed to use. I'm calling it here. When you get the starter box, when they announce and show off the starter box, I'm going to bet they're going to have 2 22 by 30 boards in there so that you can play a 500-point game. And I'm guessing that's how many points are going to be in each side in the box. You're going to get 500 points of Necrons and 500 points of Space Marines. That's going to be in the box. They're going to give you a 500-point playing field, all the dice, and blah, 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 all that good stuff. So one kill team game is one kill team board. A 500-point game is 2 kill team boards. If you play 1,000 points, it's a 44 by 60, I think, which it basically works out to that if you're playing 500 points, you're using 2 boards. If you're playing 1,000 points, you're using 4 boards. And if you're playing 2,000 points, you're using 6 boards. And if you're playing a 3,000-point game, you're using 8 boards. Now, 3,000 points and 8 boards is more than the average normal gaming table. But there's a method to their madness. Because a 2,000-point game, which is pretty much where everybody kind of plays, is going to be basically just under 4 feet by 5 feet. That is... And the thing is, remember, that is a minimum. It's not a maximum. It's a minimum. So, yeah, people who have 6x4 setups like I do, just use your 6x4 setup. But official games are going to be on, like a 2,000-point game is going to be on a 44 by 60, basically just under 4 feet by 5 feet. It's actually really simple. You just tape off a foot of your board, and you use that as an out-of-bounds area. You use that to store your drinks, store your dice, have your dice rolling cups there and your dice trays, your books or whatever. 1 foot, set it off, boom, you're good to go. So 4 feet by 6 feet, which is the size of this table. It's a standard gaming table. That's what you got. Now, that's an interesting point. That's going to be 6 kill team boards. The kill team board is interesting because it comes back to 22 by 30. They've been pushing this 22 by 30 for kill team, which a lot of people, I remember when a kill team came out, I was like, what is with this weird board size? Why aren't they doing a 2 by 2 like one of their Realm of Battle boards? Why is it such an odd size? Now, hello, Mary. They let it get mentioned, or they mentioned it, that they've been looking at this for a while. They've been looking at changing their board size for a while. I forget which interview it was, but one of the FAQs, they've been looking at these changes and looking at this for a while. So when they chose the 22 by 30, I think there were 2 mindsets there. For whatever reason, that 22 by 30, you fold it in half or you fold it in quarters, and all of their boxes, all of their large size boxes fit that folded in half board. So like 22 by 15 or quartered. So it's like, I want to say 7.5 by 5.5, which is about this big. Which that may have a lot to do just with their packaging. They may be, and again, they're a business. They want to run this through distribution channels. 22 by 30 divided by 4 fits all of their boxes. So that makes distribution easy because then all their boxes are the same size. So let's shrink the board a little bit and we can get these boards in there. That being said, I'm betting you, because that being a distribution size, we're going to see board packs. Now, somebody I know that works in the industry had mentioned to me about 6 months ago that they had gotten rid of like 3 or 4. They used to have a lot of different Realm of Battle layouts. They used to have like 5 or 6 different Realm of Battle board sets, and then they eliminated a lot of them. And they eliminated a lot of them, and they went to the 2 very flat ones, the one they have for Age of Sigmar, and the one they have, the one that they've had forever for the basic Warhammer, which is a cityscape. It's a Sector Imperialis boardscape. I actually have that set. So they were getting rid of them. And I asked the person, I'm like, well, if they're getting rid of all of them, what do you think they're doing? And he had said to me at that time, he's like, they are looking to get into mats. They had tried at one point, they had rolled out at one point in Age of Sigmar, they had rolled out a 4x4 mat that was like a Cornish landscape, lava and hellscape and kind of crazy stuff. And it did pretty well, but it was a weird size. And he's like, well, now that they have kind of a standardized size, which I was surprised by because it didn't really seem they did, but he had mentioned then they have a standardized size now. We're probably going to see them rolling out table mats. They might be getting. I don't know if they're going to completely get away from boards. I mean, they're designed and their company's backbone is plastic manufacturing. But I do know that the cost of these mouse pad material mats, polyurethane mats, the cost of producing them is not that bad. The biggest problem with the Roman battle boards is that because of how big they are and because of how heavy and thick and everything like that, that 4x6 board is like a $350 set just for some boards to throw down. And you know, the mat companies, Mr. Meeks, Mr. Hawkins, good to see you, gentlemen. So that's the thing. If they get into the mat game, I mean, now they can start actually producing their IP on mats. I mean, if you've looked at their cardboard mats, which they've basically got printed and colored some beautiful stuff on there, they could totally redo, say, the Realm of Battle Sector Imperialis mat in a 44x60 mat and just print on the cloth the Sector Imperialis prints they have, and that'd be great. But they could do the same thing because, I mean, if you look at a lot of their kill team boards, they're pretty good print. I mean, I've got a bunch of them. I've actually made it a point. I got the Deathworld Forest, Sector Frontieris, Sector Sanctorum. I grabbed those three. I wanted to get the Sector Manufacturum, but that one, everybody jumped on that one, and that was out of print so quickly. You could not get your hands on it. I really want to see if I can ever get my hands on another copy of Sector Frontieris. The terrain in there was only available in that box. There's a unique piece of terrain that's only in the Sector Frontieris box. So, and they've been talking about that this new edition terrain's going to be important. So I'm assuming that they're going to print more terrain and new terrain. I would agree with you on that one, Phoenix. That's the thought. Those cardboard mats. I mean, they're sturdy. They're sturdy as heck. They're like twice as thick as a what do you call it? A board game board. They're about twice as thick, and they're heavily laminated. They're really nice. But yeah, I mean, if they could do the same thing and print them on a mat, I mean, they can also charge a lot more. The mats are cardboard. Nobody's going to pay a lot of money for cardboard. Some of the Realm of Battles were, yeah. I mean, there was a lot of them that had kills and cliffs. And I think the reason they want to move away from that, I think the reason they went away from that entirely was the idea that terrain matters. And if you build the terrain into the board, then you're making your terrain redundant. But then again, they used to have like I said, I bought one mat from GameMats.eu. Really can suggest them. They're beautiful, beautiful mats. Really well done. But the other thing is that building your own boards really aren't difficult, especially now that we know what the sizes are. A 22 by 30. I mean, you can still put together 2 foot by 2 foots, which you can actually buy foam boards from like a Home Depot or a Menards. You can buy 1-inch thick polystyrene boards for about $5 a board. So you spend $30, you've got a 6 foot by 4 foot board that you can either have pins to put it together or use Velcro or whatnot, and then you can just texture boards, which we will be doing later this summer. I've got one I'm going to be doing for my Orcish race yard. But that being said, if you got the Speed Freaks box, if you pull up the boards that are in the Speed Freaks box and you measure them, it's the same as a 1,000-point game. It ends up being 44 by. It ends up being the same kind of board as a 1,000-point game. Yeah, absolutely, Weather Pig. And that's my whole thing. In the past, I've built a couple of kill team boards because we always thought the sides was weird. So having a dedicated kill team board, we can just pick up, put down on the game, and then take it away. We thought that was, pretty cool. Now that we're looking at it, that's going to be a portion of board size. My old boards actually kind of disappoint me a little bit because I designed them to be just a solidified unit, so they've got like a wall around them so pieces don't slide out. I'm actually going to be looking to build potentially 22 by 30 boards that we can slot together. I've got an idea for how to slot them so that you can configure them for a table in a couple different ways. And making terrain boards is always a lot of fun. If anybody watches things like Luke Towan or Luke's APS or Mel the Terrain Tutor, those are guys that like inspire me to do big scale terrain stuff. So I think making terrain boards will be a big deal. But yeah, I'm fairly, I should say I'm 100% convinced that GW is either going to start selling mats and or they're going to start selling terrain packs where they're going to have like 2 or 4 of the cardboard 22 by 30 boards and then a bunch of terrain in there, kind of like the kill team kits are right now. I think we're going to see bigger sets like that. And because they're going to make terrain more variable and they're going to give it more rules and they're going to make it more useful and more integral to the game, I think GW is going to push for their terrain to get built and bought and sold. So I definitely going to get back to the roots on this channel, teaching people how to build terrain. I think the next thing we're going to be doing is I'm going to be finishing up that. I really got to get back to this stupid project. I want to finish up that Imperial fortress I was building and then get to some industrial terrain, like, catwalks and tanks and manufactorums and that kind of stuff. So I think that's coming up next, coming up pretty quickly in the grand scheme of things. I'm excited for this new edition. I know some people are kind of like, nah. I don't know. I'm all on board. I like a lot of the changes I've been hearing about. Yeah, and that's the thing that's true about Age of Sigmar. And that's, I have a ton of terrain that I can use, but I want to build more. I want to build full tables worth in a single theme. So like if I lay out an entire we will get back to that terrain challenge. Unfortunately, here's the thing I've realized. And it's kind of integral to the kind of person I am. And I didn't realize that until recently, actually. I want to challenge people to do stuff. But I kind of look at it like the fact that we all win. We all are pushing ourselves. We're all doing better, and we're all trying to do cool stuff. So, it's kind of hard to single somebody out as doing something the best when I'll look at like 10 different things, and they all see really good aspects that everybody covered. So, I think there's the idea of doing a challenge without a winner, but just can you get in on this might be a better concept. So we will explore that definitely this summer. There's going to be a lot of terrain built this summer. You know, and that's also not a bad idea either, Winnipeg. Like, pick a theme and see what you come up with. Like, we want to build an entire board. Like I said, one of the big things I want to do is I want to build an entire industrial board. I want to build one that looks like one of those manufacturer worlds, where it's just, you know, miles and miles and miles of just it's just miles and miles and miles of factories and pipes and energy and all that stuff. So I've got a really cool idea for a build, because blocking terrain is going to be important. A line of sight challenging terrain is going to be important. The ability to fly over things, but able to land on things. I mean, with all those range rules, I want to make sure that I know. I want them to go into the rules about the terrain. They've been doing reveals on rules like every day. They've been revealing new stuff. Just, I mean, the big thing is like the 13th. They're going to be doing a reveal for what comes in this new starter box. Again, I'm telling you, I'm calling it now. You're going to see two 22 by 30 boards or a single fold-up 500-point board, and effectively 500 points on both sides there. I just foresee that. Since Lady D's not here, let's go on. What else? Let's see what else is going on. Other rule stuff. Tanks are back, baby. I mean, those of us that love vehicles, which I am one of. I'm a big vehicle fan. I mean, my Imperial Guard has troops, but Lady D must be near if she's chatting in with us. Because she wouldn't do that while she was driving. Now, would she? So, everybody knows I love vehicles. I'm a big fan of vehicles. My Imperial Guard has a lot of troops, but it's got a lot of vehicles, and I need more for it. I want to get another Hellhound yet. I really want to get a few more tanks for it. I'd love to get a Baneblade. Good night, James. Hey, you be well, buddy. I should be getting by the mail tomorrow to get a package sent out to you, buddy. I got some stuff coming for you. But I mean, I'm a big fan of vehicles, and now they have finally placed what the rules out there are. Infantry, the first one is the heavy weapons rules. There's a big change in heavy weapons rules. I kind of love the way that works. Infantry suffer the -1 specifically for heavy weapons. So vehicles, bikes, aircraft, tanks, none of them suffer a -1 for moving and shooting heavy weapons. That's a huge change, because there were a number of vehicles that still had the -1 for moving with heavy. This puts a lot of people in a very different place. This takes the Imperial Guard and really puts them in an interesting place. This changes up a lot of things. This changes up a lot of things. That only infantry suffer the -1 for moving and shooting heavy weapons. And remember, there's a few kinds of... I hear a lady dragon. There's a number of... get your food. Go get your food.
Nuh-uh. I hurt. My feet.
All right, let me move the camera. And everybody.
Hello, everyone.
Welcome, Lady Dragon, to the show. Yay!
It's a little crazy outside right now. It's really windy and
yeah,
raining pretty hard. So
yeah, And we have part of a tree come down a little while ago.
And no, I wasn't out texting while driving. I was at a stoplight.
Naughty.
See, that's the reason why I can't go get food.
Why not? Did you hurt your back?
You looked like that.
I do.
Hello, everybody.
All right. Well, we're gonna take a stop from talking about news for a second, and we're gonna get to Lady D's. What's on the bench?
Hi, sweetheart. Well, for those of you who are aware, I was a little under the weather over the weekend. I was trying my best to die, and apparently my best wasn't good enough. So, yeah. So what do I have on the bench? The only real things new on the bench I have is my darling husband got me the pinup for this month's Artisans Guild, and I really like her. I love the dynamicness of her pose. I also love the fact that she is no thin, wilting violet. And for those of you who can see, yeah, she's, what matters is I tried. Yes, I did.
I disagree. That's the only thing on your bench.
Well, I mean, I'm still working on her.
That one there, you actually put some paint to that one. I don't think anyone's seen that thing yet.
No, I don't think anybody's seen her yet. I'm on step 2 of this particular lady. Having some fun with that. And
you haven't touched that one.
No, I haven't really touched that one. And then there is not that yet.
But it's on the bench.
I got a bunch of, you can't really tell what they are as they're here.
But
those, my darlings, are Raging Heroes Lust Elves that will be my play-ins for my witches.
So she finally got some Raging Heroes to make her happy.
I got my cheesecake, man. And then my husband went and proved that he loved me and bought me this.
So we've been talking about it for a while, and it's coming up backwards so you can't see it, but I got her a Gundam. One of the local hobby stores had it at a exceedingly reasonable price, so I got it for her. It is since it was backwards, it could be right.
It's the Impulse Gundam Lancer Karuna's mobile suit. I'm not entirely sure which series this one comes from. It looks like it might be from Seed or later. But it looks friggin' fun, and I am so looking for it. Yeah, I'm like way excited over my Raging Heroes. So, ow, 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 ow.
You back?
Yeah. Somebody was so kind and left all of the brains to be wrapped.
Oh.
By me.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yes, and one of them was my size. It was much, much fun. So my back hurts muchly now. Death Guard has new rules?
Yes!
Oh, that might be good.
We'll be getting to that momentarily.
New box set sighting?
Yeah! So we just talked about that. The new box set. The new 9th edition box set.
Oh, they have announced it.
They have announced it. They're going to be revealing it on the 13th. Saturday morning.
Badass.
So we've been okay, so let's get back to tanks. Tanks are back on track. Okay, they use a lot of words, but basically what it breaks down to, and I sat here and I poured over it and I read a couple reviews of it, and basically what it breaks down to, if you get into melee with a tank, the tank can still shoot.
It can still shoot you.
It can shoot you because you're in melee with it. Yeah, she's doing much better, actually. They can shoot you if you're in engagement with it. Now, here's the thing. remember that it can choose multiple targets, but it can't shoot additional targets until it gets rid of all of the beings in melee with it. Now, they're not giving all vehicles immediate, the whole invulnerability saves. So melee is still going to jack up tanks. They're just going to not invalidate it. Oh, I have a grot on my bumper, so I can't shoot. They're making it so that melee can get into melee faster. That's going to be a side effect of a smaller board. 44 by 60 as opposed to 48 by 72. That's going to make it easier for things to get into melee.
Excuse me.
But yeah, the tanks will be able to shoot you. They're on a -1 to hit you when they're shooting at you because you're in engagement range.
One of my favorite lines from a movie.
Oh my goodness.
Really? Yeah.
Thank you,
I like
Rob.
peasants.
But any melee that doesn't kill it in one shot is dead. Yes and no. Because
Tell that to my boys with their pecks of gold. Bounce. Sorry. It's been a very long day and I'm actually in considerable amount.
if you only put a small amount of melee on it, that may be true. But it's got to focus its guns on you. Now, the other thing to realize is that it's still got to roll the hit. It's still got to roll the wound. You still get your armor saves. So that's still all valid. There's still a lot of dice rolling involved. Secondly, it's going to make you choose more arduously what you're putting on a vehicle. Let's think about it. Again, I'm not about realism, but I'm a guy with a sword, and I'm going to charge up on a tank. That's not real smart, guys. Guns. You don't bring a knife to a gunfight, okay?
But my name is Cato Sicarius.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. Cato Sicarius better have an invul save. So
Cato Sicarius is a freaking ultramarine. He's just going to win, Mikey.
Now, here's the thing. They're also giving Marines, they're giving Primaris dudes with shields. So we're going to see more invul saves. Yeah, I think it'll work out. They've had a lot of people testing it, and that's the other thing to realize. What? Yeah.
Taking out tanks. Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. They've had a lot of people, a lot of like advanced gamers testing it out, and they're saying it works out. It's nice and balanced. So
it's the plot armor save. Yeah. Exactly. That's Cato Sicarius.
So I don't know. I think it'll work out. But the fact that you cannot just stick a single grot on a tank to keep it from shooting, I'm going to use my heavy cannons. I'm going to use my heavy machine guns on you, and then I'm going to use my cannon on that thing over there because I'm going to get rid of you. I think that makes sense. On the other hand, that also means that I run a guy up on a dreadnought. A dreadnought is a vehicle. The dreadnought's going to use its melee attacks and kill some of you guys, and then be able to shoot at other stuff. So, yeah, I mean, I really like the idea of the rules. I painted up a bunch of dreads. I painted up a bunch of killer cans, and I think this is going to work out. I think it's going to work out okay. It's not going to completely negate vehicles. Vehicles in 8th were in a really bad place. They were virtually useless if they didn't have an invul save. People would just destroy them, and they couldn't do anything. I think this is a nice middle ground.
I think somebody wants to be in the limelight too.
No, he's just being lonely.
Why is he being lonely?
He got scared.
Why did he get scared?
He was outside when the branch fell. He was like a couple of feet from it when it came down.
Oh, you poor thing.
He scared the crap out of him.
Your mom, I almost died.
So, well, I mean, we'll see. I mean, they're trying to make melee more. They're trying to make melee more. No, enough. No, down.
Personal space. social distancing.
I think
This is not social distancing.
they're going to make Melee more viable, and this is one of their goals to it. I mean, I think between the new Primaris Melee guys, that every Space Wolf player should be happy to see. I think between that and the fact that they're going to make tanks so you can use your dreadnoughts. All melee armies are at the bottom of the meta. Yeah, all melee armies were at the bottom of the meta, except for those that weren't. Like demons. I mean, demons were a very powerful faction in 8th edition. Why? For an army that has no shooting at all, why were they so powerful? Because they had invul saves. And they had lots of minuses to be hit. So they could run up on stuff, be stuck someplace, and couldn't be removed. The Demon Soup army was a huge, I mean, it was the 2018 ITC champion army was that. The guy that runs it, James, I forget his name, but he won Tonic Soup. So, I don't know. The problem was that vehicles were terrible. I mean, honestly, except for a couple armies that could really alpha strike with their vehicles, you didn't see them because they were too expensive. Land Raiders stopped being used at all. You don't see rhinos. You don't see transports at all. It was very rare to see transports. There was like probably wants to go back outside because he got scared like moments after he came out.
Well, it's raining and storming now, so he can't go out.
Well, let me say it. Predators. I mean, Predators had stratagems designed for them, and still nobody was playing Predators. The Executioner was a great vehicle for specific armies. I mean, Iron Hands did some wonderful work with it, but they still weren't being used because, again, but that's the whole thing. I mean, we're talking that level between rule of cool and competitive. I'm all about rule of cool. You know I'm all about rule of cool. They're finally putting those vehicles to the point where they're not just cool, they're actually effective. Melee was problematic. They've made it a point that they're doing a lot to address that. I mean, you as a melee player should be super happy. Hey, I get my melee guys on you and you're not a vehicle. Well, we'll just fade and fire. If you disengage me, I can spend a CP and I do a number of mortal wounds. I can do a huge number of mortal wounds to your army. Especially as the orcs, that's going to be huge. Throw a 30 blob orc mob onto a unit. Oh, we're gonna fade and fire. You're gonna disengage. All right, I'm gonna spend a CP. And how many orcs are there? There's 30. I'm gonna roll 30 dice. Every 6 is a mortal wound on that unit. That's huge. People aren't gonna just be able to disengage and shoot you again. So, and from what the rules are saying, units will not be able to normally. I mean, unless there's a specific rule that changes it for flyers, it's going to cost CP to be able to disengage and shoot. It may be across the board and flyers get to spend that CP, but you can't disengage and shoot. We'll see. They said there's some major rules changes coming back, so they're making melee more viable, and they're really addressed it heavily. So we'll see on how that goes. Now, the other thing they talked about, I should cover that, the fact that nothing other than infantry are going to have that negative to heavy weapons. Flyers are going to be able to move and shoot without negatives. Huge bonus to orcs, as they have a large number of vehicles that have heavy weapons don't get that bonus. Now they will. So now they can move and shoot. Makes up for that bad weapon skill that a lot of orc vehicles have. Again, you're probably going to see Predators coming back on the field, as now they're going to be hitting back on 4s and maybe even 3s again for relic vehicles. Land Raiders could come back. I think we're going to see a lot more vehicles. I think this is going to be I don't know if it's, you still need troops, but I think you're going to see a lot more vehicles in this meta. So that was the first part of the rule changes. Let's talk about the second thing. Well, actually, we're going to take a quick break here, as we are halfway through the show, the 45-minute mark. So while we're in between breaths, we're going to give a shout out to all our Patreons. So we're really thankful to our Patreon members. It's people like you that let us buy some needed supplies, take care of some needed things, let us try some new paints and try some new techniques. And we're very thankful for that. So a quick shout out to our 2 Battle Brother level Patreons, the Mini War Mutt and Inquisitor Zane. My mouth didn't want to work. Inquisitor Jane.
And you're telling me
like Zhao.
And you're telling me
and I am Zhao.
Yeah, Zhao and Yang are 2 different words. Zhao is spelled Z-A-O, and that was his name.
Inquisitor Zhang. Whatever.
So we're saying
Zane and Zhang.
So
yeah, whatever.
Now
and our 2 battle leader level Patreons, Heinrich Botha and Joe Bookish. And finally, a shout out to our 3 Warlord level Patreons at $10 a month. A big shout out to Master Modeler Alex Drake, to our wonderful moderator, the Commodore, and to our Smash Captain, the one, the only, James Meeks. Thank you, the 7 of you. I appreciate you so much. Your support helps keep us going, helps us do stuff, and we really appreciate that support from you. We also appreciate all of you that are in the chat with us today on Taco Tuesday. We appreciate you guys. We appreciate what you do for us. Just hanging out with us, hitting that like button, hitting that subscribe, and come back and seeing the craziness that we produce on a weekly basis. All right, so let's get back into it. So all the Mechanicum stuff came out this week with Engine War. There's new rules for the Knights, the Chaos Knights. There's a whole bunch of new vehicles and whatnot for the Mechanicum, Astro Mechanicum. You know, the Mars Freaks, the Toaster Lovers. You there, Toaster Lover. And Demons. And there's been some rules changes. I have a group of knights. I haven't played. I have literally to date not actually put my knights on a table and rolled dice with them. So,
oh man, I don't have anything that's quite viable enough for you.
So I haven't really played them. And
that's where you come in.
And my demons, the only demons I play Demon Princes with my Nurgle. I don't actually play the demons of Nurgle because I'm not a fan of the Demon Army. He just got sneezes. Did he get in his? No, he just sneezing. And then there's the Astro Mechanicum, or whatever, the Mechanicum, and the Mars Freaks. Dude, you want to bring your knights and we can play an 8th edition? Bring it. Bring it. 2,000 points. I got an army for you. It's not going to go good for you.
Okay, I gotta eat.
It will not be over quickly, and you will not enjoy it.
So, everybody, ignore any sounds you're about to hear.
You could also now and have Will take the dog out.
That's funny.
There's your gauntlet. Bring it, Commodore. I'm happy to host me whooping that ass again.
Pretty sure Phoenix might not like that turn rate.
All right. So that being said, let's talk about the new one that's coming out this week. I won't even play Death Guard against you. I'll make it even more fun. But you know how much I love Death Guard. And War of the Spider is going to go on pre-order this coming week. And it's got new rules in it for the minions of Fabius Bile, the Death Guard, and the Custodes. Now, they haven't really shown much of the new rules for the Custodes or the Fabius Bile guys yet, but there are new Death Guard rules. And the very first thing they did was they added a new relic. And they took a figure that was pretty not worth taking. And by giving it this relic, it just went from being a figure I wouldn't bother with to this could be a centerpiece of my army type figure. In the Dark Imperium box set, there was a new command character, or I think it's an elite, called the Noxious Blightbringer. It's this really cool Terminator dude with a huge bone ring over his head, and he's got a huge bell that hangs from it. Probably one of the coolest new sculpts for the Death Guard figures out there. But he really wasn't worth the points. He didn't really do that much for you. He was okay. He wasn't bad, but he was okay. Well, in the new rules that they're coming out with in War of the Spider, they have revealed a new relic called the Daemon's Toll. It's a relic replacement for that bell. Now, they already had one relic replacement for that bell that was still pretty crappy. Now you're talking. The Demon's Toll. With each discordant note, this warp-forged bell sends Mortarian suns shuddering out of sync with real space. They quiver on the cusp of the Empyrean, allowing its unholy energies to flow forth and enfold them. Noxious Blightbringer model only. Model in friendly Death Guard units, excluding cultists and poxwalkers, have a 5-up invulnerable save while their unit is within 7 inches of a model from your army with this relic. So, we now have the ability to stick a being out there to go with the Blightcaster, and with the Warlord trait, bringer of corruption. So, a character that gives a 7-inch bubble. Heinrich Botha, my buddy. A figure that goes out and gives Death Guard a bubble of 5-up invul. Oh my goodness. So we throw them out there. We put a couple groups of Plague Marines with them, put a Noxious Blightbringer in the middle of it, and then maybe stick a Foul Blight Spawn or 2 in there. They've all got a 5-up invul save. They've all got their disgusting resilient 5-up. They're going to go from hard to kill to they're not getting off the damn board. I am super excited. And because of what he is, his other ability is that he gives them more movement. With a invul save and a movement boost, now we're suddenly talking about a lot more fun to bring to the board. Now, you also add onto this the couple new stratagems. Trench Fighters. Plague Knives get an extra attack. Every Death Guard, Plague Marine carries a Plague Knife. So they go from 2 attacks each to 3 attacks each. And the leader goes from 3 attacks to 4. That's a lot of melee. And because they're plague weapons, they get to reroll ones on wounds. And if you've got a corruption leader in the group, they get to reroll all of their wounds. Great ability. Overwhelming generosity. Use your stratagem in the shooting phase. A Death Guard unit from your army is chosen to shoot with. To the end of that phase, use 6 inches, add 6 inches to the range of plague weapons. So blight launchers, plague weapons. There's so many weapons. I mean, there's so many plague weapons in that group that just adding a huge amount of range to a unit for 1 CP. 6 inches is huge. Again, you go back to we're stacking on stacking on stacking. Plague, the Death Guard have been really at the bottom of the barrel for a large portion of this. They've been unviable for a lot of these problems, and these stratagems directly intervene with this. That's going to be really good. And now they have companies. There's specific rules for each of the 7 plague companies. Kind of like how different Marines have different things. Each of the companies, there's always been talk about it. They've never been really differentiated. They fought war in different ways. Now each company is going to have their own stratagem. And Harbingers, which are known for using lots and lots of Poxwalkers, they've got a stratagem that lets them bury their Poxwalkers before the battle. So at some point during the battle, instead of movement, they just bring them up out of the ground. Basically a deep strike that they can use on the first turn to bring Poxwalkers out of the ground.
That seems kind of cheaterish.
It may be, but
says the woman who plays the elves that just kind of
17 movement. Yeah. For 3 CP, you can do 2 Harbinger's Poxwalker units. Now, keeping in mind that you can run Poxwalkers in blobs of 20, that means you can have 2 squads of 20 just out of the ground. That's huge. That's going to be huge. And now the 4th company, which is the Wretched, they have a new Warlord trait that they're showing off that, again, is... I would never use it because I like the corruption, the sign of corruption Warlord trait, but they have one that any enemy model is destroyed as a result of an attack made with a melee weapon by the Warlord. He regains a lost wound. You run him into a squad of guys, he takes a couple wounds coming in. He's going to kill a couple guys on that melee phase. You guys know how demons work. He can regain up to 3 wounds per phase. Well, yes and no. They don't get their own chapters. The Death Guard are their own chapter. They have 1 chapter thing. What this does is it gives them a little bit more flavor because they are, I mean, honestly, Mythos, they were bottom of the barrel. Then nobody was playing them other than me and a couple other really dedicated players. Nobody's playing them because they're not winning.
And there's no reason to stand that they wouldn't have gone, hey, you know, look at what my asshole brother's stuff is working for them. So,
I get what you're saying there. Yeah, you know, I don't.
Chapter within a chapter.
They're not a chapter within a chapter. They're a company within a chapter. You know, and I kind of agree with you. And I'm going to tell you on this, Mythos, one of the things because of this, because remember, they're saying everything's going to be rolling forward. This gives me, and I'm actually thankful you brought this up because I was thinking about this when I was reading this. My immediate thought was, I'm going to bet you, again, because these are very specific to companies within the Death Guard, I'm betting you when the new 9th edition codex rolls out for Space Wolves, which they said they're doing, they're going to be refreshing all the codexes. When the 9th edition codex comes out for the Wolves, I am betting you will see stratagems tied to specific companies. Like the Iron Wolves will probably have a vehicle-specific stratagem. The Sea Wolves, I don't know. They're going to have a stratagem. Water-based, I'm not sure. I'll bet you I bet you the Blackmane guys will have a very specific melee-focused stratagem, since they really are of all the Marines that are in your face, the Blackmane guys are the most in your face. They're really about the melee entirely.
So that would stand to reason that probably they would do something like that throughout the edition for each of the chapters,
yes.
giving them each company their own.
I'm absolutely convinced that because they did this for the Death Guard, you're going to see the Space Wolves, the Blood Angels, the Dark Angels, and the Death Watch. I'm thinking each one of them, the ones that have the non-compliant Marine chapters, I think they're going to get chapter company specific code stratagems that are dependent on which company they're in. I can totally see for the Dark Angels, their is it the Deathwing company, the one that's all the black, all their speeder bikes and their speeders, the ones under Samael. I'm gonna bet that there's gonna be a new special thing with their speeder bikes stratagem that's only for that company. And I'm betting you're gonna see the same Ravenwing. There you go.
So we're going to probably end up getting to see something involving ultra rapid deployment for the Scars.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Super ultra rapid.
Well, but no, that's the thing. They're their own thing, but their companies all operate the same way. I think they're going to do. I honestly think, my honest thought is they're specifically going to do it that each non-compliant, like the Death Guard, and I'm betting we'll see it for the Thousand Sons as well. Although we already kind of have with the Thousand Sons, because they have different cults within the Thousand Sons. There are different cults of magic within the Thousand Sons, so different cults have different stratagems they can use. I'm betting that we're going to see the same thing for the main 4 non-compliants: the Dark Angels, the Blood Angels, and the Space Wolves, and the Death Watch. I'm betting we're going to see company-specific stratagems as things come up. Be well, Mythos. Thank you so much for coming by. Love you, bunch, buddy. All right, so I'm excited. I think these Death Guard changes are going to make Death Guard more competitive, and I think that's the one thing they really needed. You gonna go get the dog?
He is freaking the hell out.
Okay. All right. Be careful. If you can't do this, you can take over the stream and I'll go deal with it.
All right. Bring me back water.
All right. So I'm gonna let Lady D take over. Since you haven't had a chance to really read over the news, maybe we should talk about some general hobby goals for the next couple weeks. We've been talking about.
Hobby goals?
No, we've been talking about hobby goals.
We have hobby goals?
Terrain, remember? We were talking about we're going to be doing a lot more terrain coming up for 9th because of all the new terrain rules. We had a huge conversation about this.
Please tell me we didn't have this conversation on Friday or Saturday.
No, we talked about it yesterday.
Yes. He had a huge conversation with me about something while I was still out of my damn mind, getting over being sick.
All right, then.
And I slept before. I was like, I just need to take an hour nap. 6 hours later, I'm up. 2 hours after that.
Do you remember anything we talked about?
Not even a little bit.
All right. All right. I'm going to turn over the stream to her. I have no idea what she's going to talk about.
For the love of God, if you ever shop in a retail place, please, 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 for all that is holy, don't just throw what you found on some random stuff. Holy jeez, man. Okay. Start keeping a notebook. That's what my flashcards are for. But in my case, Phoenix, yesterday was the first time since Friday that I was able to stand up without throwing up or be awake for more than 5 minutes. For those of you who don't know, I made myself very, very ill over the weekend. Turned out our sweet and sour mix went bad, and I didn't know because I mixed it with whiskey, so I couldn't taste it. Pretty impressive for me. Yes, Commodore, I did get them. The angel is beautiful. I cannot wait to paint her, and I love my Valkyrie. She looks like she got to kick someone's ass. So in other news, I officially have a commission for a one of my the large figures. Rob, if you're still here from TMP, gave me probably the best compliment I have ever gotten. Because I admire this particular game and their paint jobs and their figures so much. I was complimented in the video that we posted, stating that my figures and the way that I had painted them reminded him of the Kingdom of Death figures, which if you've never had a chance to see them, Google them. They are beautiful models and molds. He's here. Hi, Rob. So yeah, I got woken up out of bed for that one, and that made my weekend. It was like the one thing I really remember from this weekend, so that should tell you something. I have been slowly working my way with, and again, we'll probably end up doing a showcase for him because it's really hard with the way our camera is to get a good look at the fade effect that I did with the wings on these. I had seen this in a picture, and I have this wonderful book that showcases Vallejo and Franchetta and a bunch of others like that. And they had this really cool image of this like Amazon queen, but she was a spirit, so she was in these whites and blues. And I was like, that'd be kind of fun to do the wings like that for him. So he's been a slow go. The horse itself is actually almost finished. I just need to get his rider, finish the bone work on him, get them golden glazed, and then I need to add his rider to him. So, yay, water! I've been working very hard. Lost 2 shifts because of me being so sick, and made somebody very, very, very nervous because I don't normally get sick like that. Oh, that smells so good. So, yes. The only other figure I've actually been working on right now is her, which she was the pinup for the Forest Elves from Artisans Guild. It's a really horrible image of her. But I love this thing so very much, and so kind of reminds me of my druid from World of Warcraft, so I started kind of painting her like that, except for her skin's going to be more like a tree. It's going to be more bark-like than actual skin. Because as sexy as she is, there's a little thing, she gets nips showing, so. I love my cheesecake, don't get me wrong. I love my cheesecake, and I cannot wait to paint my Lust Elves. I've been debating on doing them in the colors that I was threatening to do a group of Tin Witches in, which is the Fenrisian colors. Because we have a bit of a narrative that we're going to start working with about a group of witch elves that are Yunari that are working with a group of wolves as part of an emissary conglomeration brainchild between Yvrain and Ghoulman to see if this can even work. And so these guys are less likely to shoot them on sight, so you've got a group of elves. And polarity starts from there. Very twingy. It's very twingy.
You should take some time to go to bed as soon as you're done with the stream. And if you need to go earlier, go earlier. It's no problem. I love you. But I want you to be better.
Yeah, considering I got work tomorrow.
Oh, no.
Oh.
I felt it squish in my pocket. I'm like, what is this squish in my pocket? Oh.
Somebody forgot about a chocolate bar. I remember doing that when I was a little kid.
Yeah, stick that in the freezer and let that go back to normal.
Oh, that would taste really good after you take it out of the freezer.
Yeah.
That's those times too.
Yeah.
So, but the last thing I've been working on is the last of her, kind of working on her skirt, trying to get some high brush and some little bit of more of a definition to it. And then I need to do her gems, and I still have to finish her shield.
And her bracelet.
It's actually not a bracelet,
Or
it's wrapping.
Bracer.
Yeah, she's got 2 of them.
Yeah, you just got stuff to work on.
Yeah, well, I've got quite a bit, and I am looking forward to finishing her up because her base is all finished, and she'll be getting a in-depth thing as well once she's sent off to her new home.
Yep.
I tried very hard to make her look more like a
gold
Boris Vallejo, Frank Facetta figure, and I got close.
It's nice. It's really beautiful.
Yeah. The cool thing about them, for those of you who have never actually looked at some of the classic fantasy pinup styled artists from that particular era, it was very much almost an impressionist style painting for those two specifically, where it was lots of shadows and contrast and contrasting colors and complementary colors that blended together to paint this picture without really having a lot of great detail to them, which is one of the reasons why some of the earliest pictures of Red Sonja done by Frank Facetta are so amazing, because there's not a lot of detail to her, but you just, the colors, I mean, her hair was this bright, vibrant red with shades of orangish red throughout it. And that was how he, you know, showed this, but there weren't, it's really cool. You have to just look it up. It's amazing. Of course, seeing different artists take on Red Sonja is even better too. But yeah, I'm done rambling.
No, keep going. You're good.
But I'm just talking about color theory. And
that's okay. That's what we're about. We're a hobby channel. Talk about color theory.
So I guess when I did her with this particular character, one, I was attempting to do NMN. I have learned that is actually much more challenging than it looks. And there's a dozen different ways to actually do that particular style of painting, which is absolutely amazing. Highly recommend for anybody who has ever felt that they want to give that a go. Squidmar's got a really cool thing on it. Miniac has a really cool one where he actually goes into color theory, reflection, and stuff like that, and how, you know, you should look at your figures based on what type of is their basic shape. Are they a cylinder? Are they a square? Are they a circle? You know, stuff like that. And where's the reflection hitting? It's really nifty. He gives just a rough overview of it. And then there's a guy, his name is Sergio. Sergio Cal something or other. I'm subscribed to him. Love him to death. I'm not entirely sure where he is, but he's
probably Spanish, because I'm finding there's a lot of really big name Spanish.
Calvo, thank you.
There's a really big name Spanish miniature painters that do some crazy good work.
He's just absolutely amazing. And there was one other that Heinrich Botha actually, yes, very much so. Sergio Calvo. I've watched that video a number of times. I love how he, lets you know, don't be afraid. You can tell English is not his first language, because he picks the closest translation word from his language into English when you watch the English translation, which I'm beyond grateful that if Sergio, if you ever happen to see this, my goodness, thank you so much for putting your video in English for me. I have learned so much. And I'm not the best at it yet, but I'm still trying. He taught me that if you're going to do base in gold, then your base color, if you're going to do an MMM in gold, use green as your base. And if it's going to be in silver, use turquoise or similar shades of blue. And you just work yourself up little bit by little bit, and don't be afraid to go back. So those guys I highly recommend with all of my heart.
Evening, son of Dave.
Hey, Dave. And then I'll have to find the name of the guy that actually, honey, open up Discord for me and go over into painting or crafting. Sorry, it's under crafting. Up, down one, that one. Not that one. Up. That's a pretty cool one. Not that one. Keep going. Yeah, no. Yes, no. That was somebody else. Maybe you did an under painting feedback.
For what? What are we looking at?
It was a I would be beyond thrilled. He is so amazing. He's the reason why I've been taking there it is, that one.
Trovarian. Yeah,
Trovarian miniatures is where I learned how to do the bronzing effect that her top and shield have, which is really cool, because I didn't go his full thing, because he has this really cool little 4-part tutorial on freehanding a shield that's all rusted and it's bronzed out. So I used that and got this.
Trovarian is an amazing painter as well.
But because of Sergio, I want to try and do. Originally, I did them as a base for green, because I was thinking about doing gold armor for him, but I may try and do it as a little bit of a tarnished silver, using this and then just overlaying it with a little bit of white or a soft gray, watered down. And I'm just taking my time, and I mean he was so cool, and I've watched Sergio's video a couple of times. Ask him. I was like, honey, you gotta watch this. And
I remember it's one of those things that I don't get. It's not that I don't like it. I don't get it.
Yeah, I mean, it was very cool because Emil shows a very quick and easy way to do MMN. Try and say that 3 times while you're drunk. He does it a very quick, very easy tutorial on how to do it with, and then he shows ways by, as he does it into. Oh, I didn't know he could do that.
Yeah.
Ugh, he's just too cool for my taste. These are men that I am aspiring to be. And then I watched Miniac, and Miniac talked about how a lot of his that a lot of the technique that he was going to be showing he got from Squidmar and he got from Sergio, which had me going and actually watching all of Sergio's from start to finish and just trying to soak up as much as I can get from him, from Scott at Miniac, from Emil, because this is just, it's such a cool effect.
Next Level Painting also was a really good video on MMM.
I have not watched that one yet. So that's one of the things I'm trying to teach myself right now. Maybe one of these days I'll actually start learning how to use the airbrush.
I'm actually really getting more into doing weathering effects because I'm going to start doing models.
Yeah.
As some of you may know, a couple weeks back, my brother sent up a box of models for me. Well, this weekend, we were at his place again. I shouldn't say we, it was me and the plague child, as this person was sick as a dog.
Yeah, I kind of
Can you roll back and hand me the box? No.
But I can move so you can get it, honey. I cannot bend down.
All right.
I was going to go try and get the dog because he's out there having a friggin' heart attack.
Okay.
I was wondering if this was a new box.
This is a new box. This is a new box. My brother is cleaning out his hobby garage, apparently. And so, knowing my love of aircraft, this man hooked me up. So I'm going to be doing some aircraft. And I want to do some nice weathered aircraft because I want them to look battle worn. Oh, we got 72nd scale of the 17F, the Memphis Belle. Beautiful aircraft. Very famous for running 25 missions and surviving all of them. Very famous aircraft for that. And actually, there's a couple movies about it, as a matter of fact. Let's see here. A couple of helicopters. Sure, I'm not sure what I'm going to do with. These I'm going to probably orc up because they look weird. So they're great for that. Turn them into some death copters. But then we got the Trojan 28B, which is just a great, was a Navy trainer. It was a great 148 scale model. And again, Wildcat, F4F, another great World War II aircraft, also in 148 scale. There's a lot of 148 scale stuff here. The F9F Panther was the first Navy jet fighter in Korean combat. So real interesting historical model. And that's the thing. I like the vehicles that have stories behind them. Couple of pieces of armor. Stuart Mark I. It was a great weekend. And the Pioneer Panzerwagen, basically the famous German half-track. So they're both on 172nd scale. They're really small. So they're going to be kind of cool. The little bitty pieces when they be done. To go with that Grumman F9F Panther, we have the MiG-15, which was the Russian fighter that was in Korea. DC-7. This was basically the last of the big prop-driven aircraft for what do you call it, for civilian use. It's a really beautiful aircraft. Really, really pretty. You'll see it a lot in a lot of like Hollywood movies in the 30s and 40s. It was a really popular aircraft. So beautiful aircraft. I kind of dig this one a lot. It's going to be interesting to do it up as a United. I don't know. I might do it up as a Pan Am. That might be kind of fun. Doing it up as Pan Am, one of those aircraft that went out of the way. And that's the thing. A lot of these I'm going to build up as the actual thing. The copters I know I'm going to definitely build up as orcs. But a lot of these I'm going to build up. A lot of these 148s I'm going to probably build as the actual the actual aircraft themselves. Especially this bad boy, as this is literally my second favorite aircraft of all time. P-38 Lockheed Lightning. It was a twin boom fighter craft during World War II. It was a completely new design. The thing was a devastating bastard. Yeah, I want to get my hands on some F-86 Sabres. I would love to get the Panthers, the Sabre, and the MiG-15s and just do a diorama Korean, air fight. That would be really, really cool. And I love this Lockheed Lightning. Now, the thing is, I was looking at this box, and I want to point this out because, again, my brother, Alex, who's in thing, he's a great guy. And those of you that know models, these are some great models. But if you notice here, there's a brand on this model. This is Monogram. Now, Monogram, they were a really big deal model company here in the States for a very long time. Now, they merged with Revell, and I'm much more familiar with seeing that version of the Monogram logo. So I'm looking at that logo going, that looks kind of old. That doesn't look normal. So I went and looked it up. And there's a wonderful website that you can look up the history of model kits and look up, who produced it, when they produced it, when the kit was, when this box changed. What was the change? Was it just a box change? Was it just a name change? Did they change on decals? Did they add new? Was there new tooling? This box is the original P-38 Lightning box. This model was produced in 1962. This box was made in 1962. '64? Because the site was saying, oh yeah, 60. I'm sorry, you're right, 64, not 62. 1964. This is the original P-38 model. This was the very first P-38 model produced. It wasn't that this was just the first that Monogram produced. This was the very first P-38 model produced. It's a piece of history. Scalemates. That is exactly it, Mini Warm. That's Scalemates. So I'm really looking forward to building this because, again, the P-38 is one of my favorites. My brother knows it's one of my favorite models of all time. It's one of my favorite aircraft of all time. Between this and the Corsair and the Spitfire. I mean, those three World War II aircraft are my absolute. I love those three aircraft. I love the Corsair. You can blame Baba Black Sheep for that. I just that show, Baba Black Sheep, made me fall in love with the Corsair. Just such a sturdy, just a vehicle that could take a pounding and could still get up in the air. And I used to love the Corsairs. I just love the P-38 because it just looked so cool. And the Spitfires, because, again, you're talking about an aircraft that just took a pounding and kept going and would get on the ground, reload, refuel, and go right back up in the air. Put it all out, take a bunch of holes, come down, they patch the holes, throw in some gas, throw in some ammo, throw the thing right back up in the air. That's okay. I just went by the Happy Hobby here in town on 79th and Burleigh, and the one on 76th and Good Hope's looking kind of run down. I mean, you can tell that the family's getting a little old and tired there. They're not really being able to keep the shop up as nice and bright and as kept up as normal. But the one on 79th he's doing really well. As a matter of fact, that's where we got that Gundam kit that I got for Milady. That was where I got that Gundam kit for her today. Because, you got to keep these family hobby stores going. You got to give them a sale when you can. Spend a little money at them. These family-run small businesses are what keep our economy and keep our hobby alive. So going in there, spending $15-20, buying some zip kicker, some gold spray, and a model, give them a little money and get yourself some stuff you need, but, spread the money around. So always a good scene. Now, I've been waiting to show this last one. I put it up on Instagram like the moment I got home because this thing has me Yeah. Okay, so let's quick go back a second. This model is 1/48 scale. Okay, 1/48 scale appears to be a fairly common. And again, I'm good with models. I mean, but I'm not like a model scholar or anything. I've actually been doing a lot of reading. So that is the wingspan of 1/48 scale, and this was a pretty big aircraft because of that twin boom. It's a pretty big aircraft. You know, I want to say that's like maybe 13, maybe 14 inches. It's a pretty big wingspan. That was a pretty big craft. Okay. And this Wildcat, I haven't opened the Wildcat. Let me open up. I open up the MiG. Okay. So the MiG, this is the same scale. So you can see there how big the wings are. So, okay, you got an idea. At the same time, he gave me another 1/48 scale aircraft. And I'll be honest, when I saw it, I'm like, that's awesome. And when I brought it home and opened up the box, kind of crapped my pants a little bit. This is the B-29 Super Fortress in 1/48 scale. This thing is, as far as I've been able to tell, still one of the largest scale model aircraft made to date. To date. Now, this is the original box. This was in it is this model kit, and this is the original kit. So this is a 1977 made kit. Now he got it was damaged, so he reached out to some friends and they replaced a couple sprues. So there's actually, from what he tells me, there's a plane and a half worth of parts in here. So I'm going to be able to build this whole freaking thing, and I'm going to use the leftover parts to add to my orking parts and pieces, which is awesome. This thing, this beast, the reason the box is this size is because that is the length of the fuselage. When this thing is built, when this thing is complete, the wingspan is just under 3 feet wide. The fuselage from nose to tail is just over 2 feet. This thing is massive. The props on this thing are the size of CDs. This thing is massive. It's a 35-inch wingspan, 35 and a quarter, and the fuselage is 24 and a quarter inches long. This thing is massive. Now, they've repackaged and reboxed this thing like 3 or 4 times because it's still a popular kit. The funny thing is there's a lot of units that have been sold, but according to what I was looking up on oh, man, I'm so excited about this thing. Again, because I love aircraft and the B-29. Okay, I've built a B-29 before. My brother and I, when I was 11 or 12, we built a 1/44th scale, I believe. I believe it was a 1/44th scale B-29. And it was still a big craft, but it was, 1/44th scale. So, oh man, you have no idea. I love aircraft, but the B-29, again, my love of aircraft is one, I love aircraft to begin with, just period. Military aircraft they're just, for whatever reason, I love to look at them. I mean, I spent hours reading about aircraft, but because specific models and specific planes have specific history behind them, that's even a bigger draw for me. Which is why seeing a B-17 is a great bomber. It's an incredible bomber. The B-29 is what replaced the B-17. But specifically, they have the markings in here, so I can do this as the Memphis Belle, the first B-17 to complete 25 missions without being shot down. I'm excited to build this model. The B-29 Super Fortress. The two most famous B-29 Super Fortress. It was a 1/100 scale. Okay, Al remembers the model when we built that thing. The two most famous B-29s are Boxcar and the Enola Gay, the two aircraft that dropped the bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Now, the idea of nuclear war is a horrifying thing. And they were enough to show that there should never, and we hope there will never be, a nuclear war. So the two aircraft that dropped those two atomic bombs, they are forever ingrained in history. And when I build this guy, when I build this B-29, I'm building it as the Enola Gay. The markings are in here. I've started building a research folder with photographs, as many color photographs and even some black and white photographs, so that I can see all the markings, where they go, and the proper alignment for the Enola Gay. Because I'm building this B-29 as it was just before it took off. They even have in the box, they have the models of the Fat Boy and Little Man. So it's going to be built as, yeah, it's going to be built as the Enola Gay. And it's going to have Fat Boy in it. And it's going to have the bomb bay open and have Fat Boy in it. And I don't know where I'm going to even display this thing. It's so big, 3 feet wingspan. This thing is massive. I have no idea where I'm going to display this thing. I think until I have a dedicated space that I can display it, I think after I build it, even though I'm going to build it aircraft with landing gear down, I think we're going to do the whole, clear fishing wire and hang it from the ceiling in here. And if you guys would be interested in that sort of content, when I get to the point that I start building this thing, I'm going to build it on the air. I'm going to build it in video. I might even live stream building it. And go through the process of building it. Now, I do have some concerns because I haven't built aircraft. I haven't built model quality. There's a very big difference between building tabletop-ready miniatures and tabletop-ready vehicles and trying to do historical recreation vehicles and models. So a lot of what I'm going to do in this box, is what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and relearn some of those skills and do them on the air. Actually, I'm pretty sure the first one I do, it's not in the box. It must have fallen out over there. One of the other aircraft that's in this box. Yeah, no. This thing, I'm not going for this one right off the bat. I'm doing research on that one right now. Actually, the first thing I'm going to do in here, I've got an F-16 Fighting Falcon. And again, of modern aircraft, or the more modern aircraft, one of my favorites. And I do know a contact Ralph, and I definitely will be. But I've got an F-16 Fighting Falcon, and one of my two favorite modern era jet aircraft. I believe they're considered. I believe they're considered fourth wave fighter superiority fighters. But the F-16 and the F-4 Phantom are of the modern aircraft, at least Vietnam and 1970s era aircraft. Those are my two favorite of that era. The F-4 and the F-16. Just think, I gotta say, even the Delta Dart too. The Delta Dart's another one. That's an interesting craft, but really the F-4 and the F-16 are the F-4 and the F-16 are two of my favorites. But I've got an F-16 Fighting Falcon, so I'm gonna go with that first. And again, I'm still thinking about that. Part of me wants to do it as one of the Thunderbirds paint scheme, and part of me is thinking about just doing it as a doing it as a standard Air Force Interceptor, like one of its first floats, which is the pale gray under the gull gray top. So I'm thinking about that one still. I might have to set something like that up. I want to spend some more time with my brother, so we might have to set something up. But I mean, I still got a lot of questions. There's stuff I have not done for these in a long time. Like, I'll be honest, the very first thing that came to mind is, oh crap, clear canopies. Nothing I have has a clear canopy. None of my vehicles that I've done in a while has had a clear canopy. I don't even know what kind of glue to use for that, because I don't modeling glue, or at least I don't think plastic glue works on that. So I mean, I gotta go back and go, how the hell do I put this on without fogging it up? Because I know doesn't superglue fog up the clear stuff? So I'm assuming there's got to be a special glue you got to use for them. But then I got to do painting. Well, then when do I glue this in place? So I'm trying to have to relearn how to paint and how to build, traditional vehicles. So this is I'm excited about this. Yeah, I'm super excited about this. But yeah, there's a whole lot of skills I'm gonna have to relearn, because there's a lot of this stuff I haven't done in a long time. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. I might do the armor first. I might do the Stewart and the half track first, just to kind of get used to doing the weathering. But ooh, it's intimidating. I'm not gonna lie. It's super intimidating, because it's the same skill set, but there's a lot of different skills as well. So I'm super excited and I'm super happy about it. But yeah. And again, I'm gonna also be doing it different than the way, like, I know my brother does it. We were talking about that this week when I was over there, because he is really an enamel guy. And he's enamel and a you laugh about that, Al, but that freaking half track, I'm like, oh, this half track looks cool. You already half built this. There's a little sticker on the outside. Please finish me. And I'm going through this half track model, and this thing's this big. This model is like, it's just a little bit bigger than actually, it's about the same scale, I would say, as a Matchbox car. So it's like this big. And there's the pieces that aren't done, and I'm looking through there, and there's a freaking sheet of there's a thing of photo etch, probably the size of my thumb, with some photo etch in there. I'm like, are you kidding me? I don't even know what to do with photo etch. I'm like, crap. So yeah, there's a lot of discussion that's going to happen. I've never dealt with photo etch before, so I have no idea what to do with that stuff. And again, I got to relearn how to do canopies. It's really cool. I'm super excited, and definitely will be streaming it for you guys, because I mean, if not streaming, at least taping it, because I mean, again, I want to do this guy so badly. I want to do this guy so badly. But I'm going to do a couple other ones first, because I don't want to mess this up. And this is a beautiful model. I was looking at this thing. This is a beautiful model. And since the first one, the molds were brand new. So the detail on this thing is so crisp. Everything fits so cleanly. There's no flashing. This thing is pristine. So I'm super excited to do it. And it's got a lot of your options, but I'm just going to do it as the fighter. I really want to do it as the triple gun front end fighter. I thought about doing the bombardier nose end, but I don't know. I'm still. I kind of want to just do the fighter, but the bombardier front end's kind of cool too. So I got to think about that a lot. So yeah, that's why I'm going to start with the Fighting Falcon, because the Fighting Falcon is a pretty simple. Honestly, that was one of the joys of the design of the Falcon. It's a pretty simple aircraft. The difficulty was all the internals to make it so sleek, but it's basically a very sleek wedge of an aircraft. So, yeah. It was an interesting weekend. And remember, guys, this is a second box. I have another box in the other room of a bunch of other stuff too. So, I am not going to be short of hobby stuff to do for the next couple of years. Like, I'll be busy on Warhammer 40K, and then doing some boards, and doing some terrain, and then doing a model, and then doing some basing, and then doing some more models, and then doing some more models. And then it's going to be, yeah. I got stuff. So we're a little over, and that's okay. I'm not working tomorrow. So, and I'm glad you guys would be interested in seeing me actually tackle some of these regular models. Yeah, no, I'm not bored. No, I'm not bored. Lordy, I'm a little overwhelmed. It's like, I want to work on something. What's the easiest thing I can work on short term? I mean, I've got a commission actually now. I have a buddy of mine, a minor commission. A buddy of mine saw a model. He wants me to a figure for a game that he's in. He wants me to paint up for him. So I got to get that together, painted for him. But I got a bunch of the stuff I want to get done, and I've got a board I got to put together. I'm even more curious as to how armies on parade are going to be affected, because 2 foot by 2 foot has always been the standard because that was part of the game board. But now 22 by 30. I wonder how they're going to do that. Be interesting to see. I can't wait to see when Games Workshop is actually opening stores here in the area, so we can talk to them and see what's going on. All right. So that being said, I think we've covered everything we can tonight. A quick shout out back to everyone in the community. If you got anything you want to quick ask me, or anything you can think of you want to talk about real quick before we close up for the night, please throw it in the chat now. In the meantime, if you haven't hit that like button, smash it for me. Let YouTube know that I'm doing a good job for you. Helps me get into the mix and helps people direct more people to my channel so that they can be part of our madness here. Additionally, if you are not a subscriber, please hit subscribe and ring that bell, because you never want to miss one of my Tuesday shows. Plus, you never know when we're going to do stuff during the rest of the week. Otherwise, if there are no other questions, I'm going to end this up for the night with a big shout out again to all my Patreon members. Again, Mini Warmutt, Prisoner Zane, Joe Bookish, Heinrich Botha, Master Modeler Alex Drake, the Commodore, and Smash Captain James Meeks. Tell me about the airplane you got for your. Sure, I can actually show it to you. Right here. It is a Revell Micro Wings 1/44 scale Junkers JU-87B Stuka. So, little 1/44 scale German Stuka. Just cute little craft. Oh, there it is, by the way. This is that F-16 Fighting Falcon. And I think I'm literally just going to paint it up as the color scheme you see right here on the cover. But yeah, this is a little tiny Revell kit. And it was funny. The reason he included it, actually, was because when he was picking out stuff to send to me as part of the Pay It Forward box, I had mentioned when we were talking about modeling on one of my streams, one of my very first streams, I had talked about my love of modeling and how it got me into wargaming, and that my very early memories of modeling were doing airplanes with my brother. So he grabbed one of these to throw in there because it's a cute little model. Actually, I might actually do this first. This is the one I've had in my possession the longest. I might actually do this one first, just to start off with something simple. Although 1/4 scale, that's gotta be. I mean, well, let's take a quick pop open and take a look at this model. Okay, it is one sprue. It is a single sprue. That is hilarious. It is tiny. Which is cool. Don't get me wrong. I'm not complaining at all. This is cool, but wow. And for a little tiny plane, this is a lot of freaking detail on here. Yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to think, how the heck am I going to do some of this? This is tiny as hell. But yet, the instruction book, the instruction book is actually more weighty. The instructions are actually more weighty than the actual sprue of the model. That's hilarious. But it does not look like it comes with any decals whatsoever, which is fine. Let's take a quick peek here. Well, it says it comes with. It says it comes with water slides. I don't see any. No bigs. Yeah, this is going to be. This is just as challenging. This is going to be crazy. This is tiny. Wow. You know, I might even have to just come to you with this because I don't even. Wow. Now that's crazy. Something smaller is actually a little bit more intimidating than something big because this is so tiny. Any little mistake you're going to make in this thing is going to be like super magnified because it'll be such a huge portion of the aircraft. All right. So still, you see a Warhammer flight stand. Yes, it does have it has actually a little miniature flight stand in it that looks very much like a Warhammer flight stand. It does. Cool. All right. Oh, jeez, don't even get me started about photo etch. Oh, all right, folks. All right, we're gonna wrap it up here. Modeling. It's a gas. And here I thought I was being mean because I gave my wife a Gundam and she's never done any sort of modeling before. Little did I know what a fool I was. All right. All right, folks, that being said, thank you so much. Again, ring that bell, hit that like button, hit subscribe. Thank you so much for being with me today. Thank you to all my Patreon members again. Minnie Warmutt, Heinrich Botha, Inquisitor Zane, Joe Bookish, Master Modeler Alex Drake, the Commodore, and Smash Captain James Meeks. I appreciate all of you so much, and I appreciate all of you in the channel with me today, you standing by and listening to this crazy stuff going on. When this is done, throw your comments in the afterwards if you have any ideas or stuff you want to talk about in the future. We will see you next Tuesday, every Tuesday, Central Standard Time, United States, from 7:30 to 9 o'clock. We are here. Every weekend, we do a new tutorial. We try to, or we do some sort of other video thing. This week, give you a sneak peek, we'll be doing a tutorial on doing desert basing. So, that being said, take care, all of you. Love you so much. Thanks again. And remember, epic your board and epic your game. Game on, my friends. Thank you, and have a wonderful, wonderful evening.